Hello everybody, we are here for chapter 11 and chapter 12, so I'm going to do both because we've missed 2 evenings. So we're going to be looking at chapter 11, which is the one thing that you need, and chapter 12, which is unleashing, unschooling. And I think these are actually my favourite chapters. After writing all the others, I finally got into the swing of it. Maybe, I don't know. I wrote in the comments you could probably start with this chapter if you wanted, but I would recommend the rest of the book as well. If you wanted like the one practical thing that you need, this is probably where to start. But if you want help making shifts with all the other questions and the deschooling and the worries and how it actually works, you're going to need to read the rest of the book too. So chapter 11 is about the one thing that you need. I get in trouble when I say you don't need lots of money. I don't want to imply that you don't need any money. Being able to afford shelter and food and water and heating is generally considered helpful, but you don't need excessive amounts of money to pay for educational experiences, for example, or sign up for subscriptions or magazines. There are lots and lots of available resources out in the world for your children, and it's not the most important thing. The resources are not the most important thing. You don't need lots of space. Some families think you have to have like a designated space when you want to home educate. It is nice to be able to navigate yourself around each other, depending on, we're a family of 6. And it turns out that we do all like our own quiet space to retreat to. But that's not always something that we've been able to have, but we've created little nooks in our house and rearranged our house for those things. But you don't need a designated space, you don't need lots of space. Your house doesn't need to be perfectly clean, nice as that might be. It's not essential to learning. And you don't, there's a long list of things you don't have to have. But this is the one thing that you do have to have. And that is an involved, passionate, caring, interested adult for your child. That is the one thing that you need. You need to nurture this relationship that you have with your child. It can easily be 2 adults, it can be a whole family, it can be a community, but there needs to be a core relationship that is strong and caring and compassionate and responsive to your child. One that is able to listen and value and understand, really get to know your child and partner them in the things that they want to do, be there to talk with them. Most of unschooling and learning in unschooling happens through conversations, or a lot of it anyway. Being available for that, being available to help them tie shoelaces and paint pictures and take apart Lego because they used the wrong bits and find the right bits and fix the trampoline and all those sort of things. It's the people and the relationships that are really, really foundational to the success of unschooling, and creating kind of a family culture where everybody is valued, everybody is honoured, everybody's needs are honoured and met, where you work together to create space where it works, create rhythms in your daily life that suit everybody, and have a culture where people can be honest and open and reflective and work towards those win-win solutions, where connecting with each other is the priority. And this chapter talks about how to nurture and repair relationships that maybe have been strained by school and by structure and routines that have been imposed upon you as a family, and talks through how to re-establish strong connections and work towards collaborating to find those solutions that work for you as a family. It's pretty countercultural, because it changes, or there's a different view about the value of children and the importance of listening to their voice. So it's interesting. It's interesting to discover it. It's interesting to read about it. It's certainly interesting to work through it and live it as a family. But it's a beautiful thing, and one of the things that I think will change is an active component of changing future society and communities. Let's start with communities and then society. So this chapter really encourages parents to consider what a child really needs to be able to learn and learn well, and the answer being this relational aspect to everything that we do. Having read the book over the weekend, because we're doing the final edits on it, I talk repeatedly about the relationship, because you in every chapter, because you can't extract it from anything else and then expect everything else to work. It's impossible. The relationship weaves through everything in unschooling, and contributes to it working well. So that's chapter 11. There's lots in there about the practicalities of what that looks like in a family, particularly a family of 6, but between any family, negotiating, problem solving, creating a space, a physical and emotional space where children feel safe to say no, or to even dream into what their wildest dreams are, where they can just be confident and openly share what they need, in families that hold that with care and consideration. So that's chapter 11. Chapter 12 is Unleashing a Life of Learning. Someone asked me at a recent home ed camp what my 10-year-old does, and what they meant was, what workbooks do they do, or online programs or subscriptions, or that style of learning. But I could also tell, just based on the fact we'd been sat together for about 10 minutes, that their 10-year-old struggled to do those things. That wasn't well, I didn't know for sure that wasn't something they were trying, but it certainly wasn't something that they wanted to do. It was like this kind of meeting of the minds, I guess, and I was able to confidently say she doesn't do workbooks. We don't sit down and do 10, 15 an hour minutes of literacy every day or numeracy, and we've never done that, none of that, because it's just not what my daughter wants to do. And so then I shared what she does do. So things that she really, really loves doing are dance, horse riding, she's on a cheer team, she does a homemade gymnastics session every week. She loves art and craft, particularly paper craft, painting, bracelet making. We've done some papier-mâché work recently. She loves playing Roblox, particularly with her friends. She's into things like role-play games like Brookhaven and Adopt Me and Grow Your Garden. That's a really popular one at the moment. Those are the things that she enjoys doing. And obbies, which I have never mastered, and is the joy or to the amusement, maybe I should say, to my children. I've never mastered the hobbies on Roblox. So my 10-year-old does attend a group once a week, which is almost for a whole day. It's 5 hours. She loves swimming, not swimming lessons. We don't do swimming lessons. That's not for her, but we do go swimming. She watches endless films, mostly fairy tale related, Disney related adaptations of different fairy tales. She seems to have spent an extended period of time watching that kind of genre at the moment. She likes going to the beach, bike riding, trampolining, hobby horsing. How can I forget hobby horsing? Her life is beautiful and interesting and full of joyful things that have meaning for her. And we never explicitly talk about literacy or numeracy or science or geography or history. It just happens. All this learning happens as a natural consequence of her following this golden thread of her own curiosity and questions and joy. And so this is what really this chapter is about: how to unleash this life of learning. Because there's no kind of quick fix when you move towards unschooling. You can't say you were schooling one day and the next day you are unschooling. There is a period of time when you move towards it. That might be what you know you want to do. It might be what you know you really want to commit to. But because of all the unlearning we need to do and the relearning we need to do, it doesn't happen overnight. And even then, there is way more to unlearn and relearn than you ever thought possible. But it does become a pleasant journey, one of intrigue. It doesn't always feel as chaotic maybe as those first few weeks and months. And there is a point where you wake up one day, or maybe at the end of a day, more to the point, where you get to the end of the day and you realise that you've just had a nice day together and it's been full and joyful and interesting and immersive and relaxing and I want to say peaceful, but not every day's is peaceful. Usually most days contain a non-peaceful moment, but certainly a day where you haven't had to catch your breath and think, we haven't done literacy, or what are we learning when we spend all day on the beach? You've just had a really lovely day together, and that's kind of the moment when I will say that's it, you're unschooling now. You like with the ease, and the beautifulness of just being together. So this final chapter really releases parents, I guess, into the world of unschooling, that hope, that possibility of all the things that are now open before you, that you can do with abandon and abundance, and this confidence in what you're doing, this new way of living and learning. I guess it equips you to keep going, to keep leaning into the questions that do arise, that unlearning and that relearning, and that you're going through that process, to keep doing that, to keep drawing on all the things that you have discovered so far, and it gives you some final tips for the journey. And I've left this one interview specifically for this last chapter, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed doing the interview, and I hope you can hear in the pages the abundance of this unschooling life. So this chapter is really inviting you to imagine what a life without school could be, what it might look like, and equipping you and your children to make that your reality, because unschooling isn't like a set, this is what happens. Anything can happen, and the possibilities are really exciting if we can put aside all the things that hold us and our children back. It's kind of like this simultaneous holding of things just becoming really regular and normal and ordinary, whilst also knowing that the possibilities are endless and the world is open wide, and then also holding that might just look like us having this beautiful, peaceful, everyday, ordinary life, whilst also recognising that the opportunity that we have outside of school affords us so many different avenues to explore. I'm going to leave our time together there, all 12 chapters, and so what will come next will be there'll be an online launch in February, and after that, in due course, there will be like an online book club where we'll work through or read through the chapters together. Each chapter's got like an exercise in, so we can do that, and we can have some Q&As around, depending on who's there. We like to tailor, or I like to tailor things to who's there, so look out for those events in the future or near future. If you're listening on the podcast, it would be lovely to welcome you there, and I will see you all again soon. Thank you for listening. Have a good evening. Are you curious about unschooling and want to know more? Perhaps you're on the edge of starting this adventure, or maybe you've been doing this a while but you're looking for inspiration. After more than 13 years of unschooling 4 children and over 5 years supporting others on the same path, I have a vast library of resources that I'm happy to share with you for free, whatever stage of your journey you're in. You can check out the link in the description of the podcast, or you can head over to my website at liveplaylearn.org and look for the free resources tab. And there you will find lots of things to inspire you to keep living, learning and playing together. I said that the wrong way around, didn't I? Anyway, it's also a great way to make sure that you don't miss an episode of the podcast, which we will get back to now.